Imagine the world as we know it brought to its knees by an invisible enemy, an enemy that does not discriminate, that permeates borders and firewalls with ease. We're not talking about a biological virus here, nor a spy novel's invisible assassin. This enemy is a computer virus, a piece of code that can infiltrate our digital lives, wreak havoc on personal data, upend businesses, and even threaten national security. It's the invisible hand that shakes the world, often without us even knowing it's there. But this is not a new enemy. Its roots stretch back over 4 decades, to a time when the internet was in its infancy and personal computers were a luxury. This was a time when the first of these cyber threats emerged, not from the shadowy corners of the web, but from a floppy disk. An entity that would come to be known as one of the pioneers of these cyber threats. An entity known as the Elk Cloner. The year was 1982, a time when personal computers were a novelty rather than a necessity. The Apple II, a pioneering symbol of the digital age, was making its way into homes and schools, transforming the way we interacted with technology. But with this shift came unforeseen consequences, and thus was born the first cyber predator, the Elk Cloner. Our story begins with a 15-year-old high school whiz kid named Richard Skrenta. Known to his friends for his practical jokes and pranks, Richard decided to take his mischief digital. Instead of whoopee cushions and fake spiders, he began crafting lines of code, creating a program that would disrupt his friends' games on their beloved Apple II computers. Little did he know he was writing the first chapter in the history of computer viruses. The program, dubbed the Elk Cloner, was no ordinary piece of code. It was a self-replicating program, capable of transferring itself from one system to another. And what was the medium of this contagion, you ask? The humble floppy disk, the primary data exchange medium of the time. Each time a contaminated disk was inserted into an Apple II, the Elk Cloner would make a copy of itself onto the system. Then, every 50th boot of the system, instead of their expected game or program, users would be greeted with a poem, a digital calling card of sorts from the Elk Cloner. The poem began, "Elk Cloner, the program with a personality. It will get on all your disks. It will infiltrate your chips. Yes, it's Cloner." Unsuspecting users became inadvertent carriers of this digital menace, spreading it to other systems, other disks, and other users. It was a contagion of code, the world's first taste of a computer virus. Despite its seemingly harmless payload, this prank marked the beginning of a new era. An era where technology could be turned against its users, where code could become a weapon. So began the reign of the first widespread computer virus. Like an infectious disease, the Elk Cloner began to spread. It was a contagion of the digital kind, a virus that operated in silence, unseen, unnoticed, until it was too late. This invisible invader didn't need a physical form to wreak havoc. It had found a new form of existence, a new realm to conquer, the digital world. From the hands of a 15-year-old boy, the Elk Cloner virus began to spread far beyond Richard Skrenta's circle of friends. It was like a wildfire, jumping from one floppy disk to another, infecting every Apple II computer it encountered. The virus had found a perfect breeding ground in the boot sector of these floppy disks. Every time an infected disk was inserted into a clean system, the virus would silently copy itself onto the new host, ready to repeat its cycle of digital infection. The Elk Cloner was a master of stealth. It would lie dormant, biding its time, waiting for the right moment to reveal its presence. And that moment would come after the 50th boot from an infected disk. Suddenly, the user would be greeted by a screen displaying a playful, mischievous poem. A poem that read, "It will get on all your disks. It will infiltrate your chips. Yes, it's Cloner." A humorous rhyme that marked the presence of a silent invader. But behind the humor and playful tone, there was a more sinister reality. An unseen invasion was taking place, a silent war being waged in the realm of ones and zeros. Computer systems around the world were falling prey to the Elk Cloner, their data being held hostage by a teenage joke that had spiraled out of control. And so, what had started as a prank among friends had evolved into something much bigger, much more serious. It was a wake-up call, a glimpse into a future where the digital world would be just as vulnerable to invasion as the physical one. The joke had turned into a global nuisance. Elk Cloner's reign was short-lived, but its impact was profound. As quickly as it appeared, the Elk Cloner virus was contained. Yet, its swift invasion left an indelible mark on the tech world. It was the first of its kind, a silent infiltrator that awakened us to the vulnerabilities of our digital systems. And in doing so, it changed the course of technology forever. Following the Elk Cloner's invasion, people began to comprehend the potential dangers lurking in the digital realm. The realization was jarring. Computers, once seen as infallible machines, were in fact susceptible to malicious attacks. This newfound awareness sparked an urgent need for protection, paving the way for the creation of antivirus software. In the wake of Elk Cloner, tech pioneers began developing robust defenses to safeguard our digital ecosystems. These early efforts eventually evolved into the sophisticated antivirus programs we use today. From Norton to McAfee, these software systems owe their genesis to the wake-up call that was Elk Cloner. But Elk Cloner's legacy extends beyond just the birth of antivirus software. It represented a paradigm shift in our understanding of technology. Before Elk Cloner, computers were seen as tools, as means to an end. After Elk Cloner, we began to perceive them as ecosystems, complex and interconnected, teeming with unseen threats and vulnerabilities. Moreover, Elk Cloner served as a harbinger, a chilling prophecy of the digital age's potential pitfalls. It was a stark reminder that with every technological advancement comes a new set of challenges, a new set of risks. It was a call to arms, urging us to remain vigilant, to stay one step ahead of the unseen predators lurking in the shadows of our digital world. Elk Cloner was the harbinger of the cyber threats we face today. It was the first, but certainly not the last, of the digital predators that continue to evolve, adapt, and challenge our defenses. Its legacy has shaped our understanding of technology, and its lessons continue to guide us as we navigate the complex landscape of the digital age. Elk Cloner may be a relic of the past, but its significance cannot be understated. It was the first stirrings of a digital menace that has grown to become a global concern in our interconnected age. Born in 1983, this unassuming virus, conceived out of a teenager's curiosity rather than malicious intent, would go on to set the stage for a world where cybersecurity is no longer an afterthought but a necessity. Our journey through the inception, invasion, and aftermath of Elk Cloner has underscored the silent but potent power of a computer virus. This seemingly innocuous piece of code, designed to replicate itself on Apple II computers via floppy disks, marked the dawn of a new era of digital threats. It was a wake-up call to an industry that had yet to fully grasp the vulnerabilities of the digital ecosystem they were creating. But why is understanding the history of computer viruses like Elk Cloner so important? It's simple. To know where we're going, we need to understand where we've been. The story of Elk Cloner illuminates the roots of modern cyber threats and underscores the importance of continually evolving our defenses in response to these threats. As we've seen, the nature of cyber threats has changed dramatically since the days of Elk Cloner. Today, we face sophisticated attacks that can cripple infrastructure, steal sensitive information, and disrupt lives. But the lessons from Elk Cloner remain relevant. Vigilance, robust cybersecurity measures, and a deep understanding of the threat landscape are as crucial today as they were when that first computer virus made its rounds on Apple II computers. In our digital age, remembering the story of Elk Cloner helps us understand the ever-evolving landscape of cyber threats. It's a reminder that in the world of cybersecurity, we can never afford to rest on our laurels. The story of Elk Cloner, the world's first computer virus, is not just a piece of tech history. It's a lesson in the importance of constant vigilance in a world increasingly dominated by digital interactions. The tale of Elk Cloner is but a single chapter in the vast history of cybersecurity. This tale, filled with intrigue and innovation, opens the door to a universe that's constantly expanding and evolving. It's a universe that's as fascinating as it is frightening. Dive deeper into this world. Let your curiosity lead you through the labyrinth of codes, firewalls, and encryptions. As you journey, share your thoughts. What are your experiences with computer viruses? Have you ever faced the wrath of a cyber predator? And as you explore, remember to spread the word. Let others know about the history, the dangers, and the defenses. Like this video. Subscribe to our channel. Share this with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Let's create a cyberspace where knowledge is the shield and vigilance, the sword. Stay safe in the digital world, and remember, knowledge is your best defense.